Today I'm taking my Maverick on a 300-mile road trip, so let's see how well it does at highway mileage. In general, how good of an experience you have taking this on a relatively long drive in a single day in a little Ford Maverick. Oh my gosh, there's a Cybertruck. That thing is huge. It's so big and it's so ugly. Wow, like an ogre. Big robot ogre. But first, coffee. I don't normally buy coffee, but I've got a gift card, so let's use it. So let's talk about the settings that I'll be driving in today. You do have some options with the Ford Maverick, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's going to be in drive because we got no other option there. It's not a manual, but we do have a bunch of options when it comes to the drive mode. So, whenever you start, you're in normal mode. And this gives you kind of normal throttle mapping, normal response, normal engine and transmission performance. And we don't want to tow haul anything because I don't need any engine braking or any help with that. Slippery mode's gonna help us out whenever we've got low traction, which we won't have. And there's what we really want, eco. There's also sport, but that's not gonna get us better mileage. I want eco. And functionally what that does in my experience is it makes the throttle pedal less responsive. So in my experience, the regen of the electric motor to regenerate its own electricity is way more aggressive whenever you're in eco mode. It doesn't mean you can't do the same regen in normal mode. It's just normal is more oriented towards like a traditional driving experience where you let off the gas and the car just coasts. That's really what normal does here, where in eco mode, it's regenerating fairly aggressively. And so the difference is whenever you're letting off the gas, the truck starts to, in a way, brake already. You know, it's not giving you the full regen. That's another mode we can find down here, but it's giving you about half regen power right away, which means it's like you're lightly applying the brake pedal yourself, but the truck is just doing it on its own. It's not anything special. You could do the exact same thing yourself if you just applied the brake pedal lightly. That would regen the electric battery. It would allow you to do the same thing. It's just this way, it's a little bit more like one pedal driving. And then around town, if I want to get crazy mileage, I'll actually put it in low. And sometimes that comes back to bite me a little bit because low can also make the gas engine come on and do like engine braking, but most of the time it doesn't. In the meantime, what that actually does for us is it basically turns the truck into like one pedal driving situation. There's a little gauge on the dash that tells you how hard you can brake while still regenerating versus braking over that limit, and then you're using the mechanical braking system and you're not recharging your battery at all. And so if our goal is to maximize the amount of regen that we're getting and getting the most mileage possible, having the truck in low is really nice because it automatically maxes out that gauge for you. So you don't have to be watching it and careful with your foot while you're braking. The truck just does it. It maxes out all the possible regen you can have. And so it's kind of like automatically do all the things that I would try and do anyway if I was hypermiling. But for today, whenever we're going down the highway, I'm not confident that that's the right tactic to use. I don't necessarily want the truck to be regenning that hard as we go 130 miles south on the I-10. Obviously, because it's a hybrid, this is not the best possible place for it to get mileage. The place to take advantage of a hybrid is inner city driving, stop and go, low speed, low draw on the engine, because as with any hybrid, if I get on the throttle hard, all that's gonna happen is the gas engine's gonna kick on and we're not gonna have great mileage. So we only really stand to benefit from those few times that there's maybe a downhill, maybe we've got a tailwind behind us, but otherwise the gas engine's gonna be on a lot of the time. All right, we're up to freeway cruising speed now, 72 miles an hour, 73. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on cruise control. And you can hear by just the general volume in the truck, the amount of wind noise that a Maverick has compared to some other vehicles. This is the Lariat, so it's got a better insulated windshield than the base model trucks, but it's still not incredibly quiet. You know, this is not a Mercedes S-Class or something to that effect. It's still a truck, but compared to normal trucks, I would say I'm still pretty impressed. I don't think the wind noise is significantly better than a full-size truck, but I'd say the rest of the noise that comes from the ground and the engine and transmission and just the general interaction with the road noise is way better on the Maverick. Hey-o, we're passing by Firebird Raceway. Check this out. So that track is Firebird East, which I think might be the best of all three tracks that are over here, but I'm not sure it's gonna be in business for that much longer. Then over there where the grandstands are is Firebird Main. Oh, there's a sign. The track is back. Firebird Main is back there, and that's where the drag strip is. Then on the other side over there where you can't see, you've got Firebird West and the Radford Racing School. And then up here where these little stands are and those little berms and stuff, that's actually like a dirt racing track. Wow, that's now partially paved. They've been working on that. Interesting. I drove, whenever the Ford Raptor first came out, I was able to go out there and drive it around and take it off those jumps. Ford was cool enough to set that up for the public, where all you had to do is sign up and they let you do it totally for free. And the driving instructor guys were like, okay, you've done it at 30 miles an hour, let's go faster. And then you take a jump at 40 and they're like, all right, you've done it at 40, let's go faster. And you just keep doing that and taking more and more air. Obviously people since then have abused Ford Raptors and other trucks by jumping them too much. But that day, nobody crashed, and so it was just this ridiculous experience at the time. What was that, 2010 or 2009? When suddenly this major automaker comes out and says, how about you drive our trucks and take them off jumps? It was crazy. Well, this is gonna be the view for the majority of the day here. Open skies, dry desert, pretty warm temperature. It's only 76 right now, but it's also 7 a.m., so it's only gonna get warmer. And that shouldn't help our mileage any. I mean, ideally, I feel like a colder temperature is gonna be better for mileage because the engine's not gonna have to work as hard. The radiator won't have to work as hard. Everything will be a little bit more optimized. But this is the day we've been given, so we'll take it. And you can see here on the gauge, the fact that it's about halfway through to maximum means that the internal combustion engine is working pretty hard. We're in hybrid mode, but there's really no way that we're gonna be using the actual hybrid battery only, because it's just got to work too hard to maintain 76 miles an hour. Maybe there's a chance we could hypermile a bit more if we tucked in behind a semi and tried to draft or something, but then we're also going to pelt the front end with rocks. So in my mind, it's not worth it. We'll just do what we can alone out here in the wind and see how well we do. I'm going to guess, if I had to, that we're going to get high 30s. I don't think we're going to crack into the 40s going this fast for this long, especially when there's no significant downhill. It's pretty much a straight road the whole way. But even so, that's pretty good. Like my old F-150 would get 17 or 18 on this trip. So if we double that, that's pretty great. Another cool feature the Maverick has, so if I activate cruise control here, we're only doing the 70, so the truck would accelerate up to 76. But because we have radar cruise control, it can see that there's a truck ahead of us and it puts a picture of a little truck there. Well, big truck, it's a Raptor. But this is how far away we are on the closest setting. So it's not really close to that truck in front of us, it's still a safe distance, but this way the truck is maintaining that gap for us so that we don't have to get too close to anybody. And even now, he's slowing down some more. The truck will slow us down so that we maintain that. And then if he changes lanes or if he speeds up, we'll speed back up too. At first, I didn't love radar cruise control, and I still don't always love it, but a situation like today, it's really great because then I don't have to necessarily be as on top of it when it comes to maintaining my speed. I can just set the speed that I would go if I could, and the truck will get back up and go whenever we can. We're cheating a little bit on our mileage because we've had 3.5 miles of electric driving already, but that MPG is just gonna drop. We're at 39.3, 39.2. When we're going 80 miles an hour, we're not gonna get 39, 39.1, it's dropping like a fly. But you can see over here on this left gauge, the percentage of overall power that we're using looks like about 25% of the overall available engine power is required to go 80. And I think even that is such a funny thing because we think that we need so much power in our vehicles, but when it comes down to it, to maintain 80 miles an hour, you only need 25% of all the power that's here. And I forget the exact power figures, but I think this truck makes something like 190 horsepower. So 25% of that is what, 45 horsepower? You only need 45 horsepower to go 80. It's pretty amazing. And we're down to 38.5 just as we talked right there. Mustang Mach-E Shelby. Is that a thing? Or did he just put stickers on it? Oh, it's got a Hertz sticker on it. It's like a Hertz rental car, but it's a Hertz Shelby edition, something, something. Well, conveniently or not, now we've hit a bunch of traffic. And so that means that our mileage is gonna go up. Our overall time spent on the road is gonna go down, which is unfortunate for me. But as far as an experiment of this road trip, our numbers are gonna look a lot better. We're not even in Tucson proper yet, and my navigation says I've got 17 minutes left until I arrive there. So 17 minutes of 20 mile an hour stop and go traffic on the freeway is going to significantly increase our mileage. And it's funny to say because typically that's like the backwards situation, right? Typically the stop and go traffic is what destroys your mileage in a normal car, but when you're in a hybrid, it's no problem. It actually helps you. So now that we're in this stop and go traffic, the strategy is kind of different because I don't want to rely on cruise control. I want to anticipate what I see up ahead. And then I want to keep this thing in electric mode as much as possible. So that little blue bar right there tells me how much throttle I can give it or how much load I can put on the engine and stay in electric mode. So if I let off, it goes down to charge. If I'm barely touching it, it barely fills up the bar. And if I give it more throttle, oh, now we've gone too far. Now we're into hybrid mode. The engine's kicked on. So you're playing with that dynamic to get the most mileage. And the tricky thing is that it's not a constant thing, because you're constantly either charging the battery or draining the battery. So it's kind of a dance between charging the battery and using the battery and trying to predict what's happening with traffic in front of you. Maybe there's a downhill so you can charge it some more. But it's really not a complicated game, because mostly it's drive slowly, drive gently, keep your right foot under check, and don't do anything like this to then use a bunch of gas. Like, that's the worst thing you could do. But it is pretty fun, and because there is that electric torque, the truck accelerates pretty well. I mean, for a CVT, for a 4-cylinder, with under 200 horsepower, it feels faster than it should. All right, we're getting close now. You can see these beautiful big mountains here in Tucson. Let's get a mileage check on the truck and see how we did so far. Nice, comfortable ride, no complaints. Plenty of response in the engine whenever I needed it to get around some people. All right, so we're partway through our trip here. 113 miles, almost 35 miles per gallon. That's only 11 electric miles, so it hasn't helped us that much that we're even in a hybrid. We've just gotten great mileage regardless. Yeah, seatbelt warning, I know. All right, now it's time to do the work we came down here for. Bust out the drone, get the information we need, and we'll take off. Is that north? The drone's out here doing its thing. For me, the Maverick is a pretty nice place to work out of because it's comfortable and it's got a ton of charging ports. So I can charge anything I want to in the back with the plugs back there. I can charge my phone from the front up here. It's got a wireless charging mat. It's just really easy to get everything you need all charged up. Now, technically, I do wish that it had like that fold flat work surface like the F-150s have, but it's definitely not something that's available in the Maverick, so we'll just live with it the way it is. But if it had that, boy, it'd be about perfect. All right, we have secured the bagel for the way home. We've gotten all of our media and things that we need to put together our work. Now it's time to brave the freeway again and see what kind of miles we get on the way back up to Phoenix. So far, partway through our trip, we're an hour and 51 minutes in and we've averaged 35.0 miles per gallon exactly. So if I can keep my foot out of it, maybe we'll end up in the high 30s. I ended up kind of averaging 80, 82 on the way down, so got to cool it a little bit if I want to get better mileage. I have noticed that it seems to be significantly easier to maintain electric speed whenever you're below 60 miles an hour, like to keep it in electric mode, I mean. So when you're above 60, I'm guessing there's enough wind resistance that the electric motor just doesn't have enough power to power through. But we've been going on this little construction zone here for a while and we've had to be below 60. And it's been quite a while that I've been just chugging along in electric mode. We're going up a hill now, so that's going to hurt us. But by and large, 55 miles an hour seems pretty easy to maintain in all electric mode. And even there, we went up the hill, I tried to maximize the electric power, and we didn't really lose much speed. I mean, 1 mile an hour, so it's not bad. Ideally, I wish that the battery was about 3 times bigger than it is though, partially because you'd get more electric range, but also potentially you'd get more power out of it, so you could stay in electric mode longer. And I would give up rear under seat storage for that, because I think it could be worth it. And Ford's done things like that in the past. They've had hybrid C-Maxes, they've had hybrid Fusions, and they've given you 2 different options in terms of how much battery you want. You pay a little more and get the C-Max Energy, which has a bigger battery, all electric mode, you can plug it in, or you can get the normal hybrid and have less of all that. So I feel like doing something like that with the Maverick would be really cool too, because those of us that want a bigger battery and more kind of potential in terms of the electric range, we'd really take advantage of that. It'd be awesome. If you keep getting on it fairly hard or you're impatient with the throttle, then it's gonna always be in the internal combustion mode. But if you can be gentle and easy, and especially if you can let off sometimes on the gas pedal, it tells the truck that we don't need all that much load. And so you have the potential of getting back into electric mode. But now we're up to 70. I'm not confident we're gonna be in electric mode very much here. All right, time to hit cruise control, get going. So here's the live view of our miles per gallon as we're driving along at 80 miles an hour. Looks to me like it's probably high 30s, maybe low 40s. But on the way down, it seemed like our mileage was dropping down to average something more like 35. So maybe if I can actually stay at this speed and not go any faster, then we can aim for 40 as the goal. The 40 that's showing there though is, I believe, kind of like the lifetime average of the truck, or at least the average since the last time I reset it. So that's not telling us a live MPG. The live version is that little bar chart that's going back and forth across the bottom. All right, we're nearing the end of our journey here. Let's check out what our mileage is looking like and how far we've gone. We've done pretty well on the way back up because we've almost averaged 39 miles per gallon, which is pretty awesome. Overall, we're not totally home yet, but we've averaged 36.8 miles per gallon. So if I'm careful these last few miles, then I'll be able to get it up to 37. But man, this truck is comfortable. For a long trip, I got no complaints. I could fit 4 adults in here, or I could fit a couple adults and a couple kids if we needed to. Got the car seats in the back. So if a road trip is in your future, you think a Maverick's a good choice, I think you're right. The air conditioning, if anything, worked almost too good. I had to keep turning it hotter and hotter because it cooled me off too well. And the truck is small enough that even though there aren't vents in the back for the rear seat passengers, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think you just blow the air right past yourself in the front, hit them in the back, and everyone's happy. There's a Maverick hauling a trailer. You don't see that every day. I think that we're able to haul up to 1,500 pounds of a trailer, but I don't remember exactly. Something small like that little U-Haul, though, would be fine. We got to be getting better mileage per gallon here because we're going slow, 60. All right, the last few miles, slowing down, pulling in the neighborhood easily to be all electric mode. Let's see how much we can pump up our MPGs here in the last second. All right, now for the fun part. Let's review the data. So the trip back up was an hour and 35 minutes. We averaged almost 40. So close. Only 7.7 electric miles though, so that's pretty darn good. Now the overall trip data, almost 3.5 hours, 37 miles per gallon, 223 total miles. Well, I thought it was gonna be closer to 300. That's not as far as I thought it was gonna be. And then it looks like less than 10% of our mileage was electric. I chalked that up to just being on the freeway, but also the few times that we had to slow down because of traffic, we racked up that mileage as well as we could. But I still think that's pretty impressive. I mean, yeah, there's a chance that you could get better miles per gallon in something like a Prius or a slicker, sedan or something like that. But for the functionality that you get from having a truck and the comfort that this truck provides, I think that's pretty good value. I mean, value for money and the value that I actually got from the MPGs. Well, it's time to pack up all my drone equipment and everything and get back to work. If you want to watch another Ford Maverick video, I'll put one here for you. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.